Kazakhstan established and developed relationships with more than 140 countries worldwide. The country is a member of over 60 international organizations. Kazakhstan is an open and friendly partner, the initiator of the various integration processes in the world community, always ready to create the conditions for global dialogue. Global Talk 25, the results of the international forum Kazakhstan's Path to Space. Forum Kazakhstan's Path to Space, Realities and Prospects 2017. Cooperation of Kazakhstan with Hungary. The 60th anniversary of the launch of the first artificial Earth satellite was marked in Kazakhstan by the international forum Kazakhstan's Path to Space, Realities and Prospects 2017. This year the event is held for the 5th time. More than 500 representatives of space agencies and state bodies, famous scientists, specialists of leading world companies in the field of space technologies from more than 18 countries of the world gathered at the site. Among the guests of honor of the forum are the people's hero of Kazakhstan, the hero of Russia, the pilot cosmonaut, the deputy of the Senate of the Parliament of Kazakhstan, Talgat Musabayev. For the first time this year, the organizer of the international scale event was the Ministry of Defense and Aerospace Industry of the Republic of Kazakhstan. And earlier a forum was organized for the national company Kazakhstan Garage Sapere. The forum discussed the results of the development of Kazakhstan's space industry. Only for 7.5 years Kazakhstan overcame, in the development of space activities, a path equal to several decades for many countries developing their space activities. And do you see concrete results today? If we started when the President asked me to lead the Space National Agency 10 years ago, I came and committee consisted of only 16 people. Today you see the result. This is the result of the activities of the Space Agency. As the speakers noted in their speeches, together with their Russian counterparts, the concept of further development of this complex was adopted. The key project of the concept is the Bayterek project for the creation of a new environmentally friendly missile complex. This project has already started this year. We're planning to launch the new complex in 2022, and we have begun our work with the Russian partners. The prospects of the development of space technologies and the issues of attracting investments into Kazakhstan's space activities were also discussed. Participants of the event exchanged views on enhancing the environmental safety of the Baikonur Cosmodrome, participated in masterclasses on the effective application of Earth remote sensing data. At the summit we found out about the nearest plans in the domestic industry. In this territory of the National Center, we're building an assembly and testing complex with a special design and technology bureau with production experience. We are delivering the design and technology bureau at the end of this year. The assembly and testing complex will be put into operation next year. And this building is located in the zone of active construction of production zone. We have another zone of administrative and cultural living. That is, we must think about the staff too. We face the task of building housing for our employees of the Museum of Space Science. The international forum ended with the signing of the final resolution of the event and a number of official documents with partners. Another country with which Kazakhstan actively interacts is Hungary. The results of bilateral cooperation were announced at a solemn reception in honor of the National Day of Hungary, which was celebrated by the Hungarian Embassy in Astana. The event was attended by representatives of the government of Kazakhstan, heads of diplomatic missions of foreign countries in Kazakhstan, and other guests. Our countries celebrate the 25th year of diplomatic relations this year. In fact, of course, we're also connected with historical relations, the common roots of the Kipchaks and Magyars. We never forget this. Nevertheless, I would like to note that Hungary is our strategic partner in the Central Eastern Europe. A document on strategic partnership has been signed between our countries, and it's not just empty words. A strategic council has been created, headed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kazakhstan and the Minister of Economy of the Hungarian Republic. This council meets regularly and conducts work to expand our political, trade and economic relations. By the way, trade between the countries has increased significantly. Now in Kazakhstan, there are 50 Hungarian companies with the participation of Hungarian capital. We are very proud that as the only partner of Kazakhstan, in 2016 we registered an increase of 16% in our bilateral trade and reached a mark of $188 million. And already by results of 6 months of 2017, we almost doubled this result and reached already $350 million. Most of the exports to Hungary are energy, but there are also excellent results of diversification of goods from our country. One such example is the creation of the National Economy Fund. It was launched last year. Its amount is $40 million and investments from two countries on equal parity basis, and it will just invest in projects that are of mutual interest, especially in the sphere of production and processing of agricultural products with subsequent export. Despite the short period of existence of the joint fund, interim results have been achieved by the current period. The first agreement has already been signed just a few days ago. Until the end of the year, 2 more agreements will be signed about specific financing of projects. Here we're talking about the poultry farm and the greenhouse farm in the Kostanay region, in the North Kazakhstan region. These are unique agrarian projects, and thus the fund starts its real work. At the solemn reception, Mr. Ambassador congratulated Kazakhstan on the successful holding of Expo 2017. The pavilion of the Central European country managed to attract 300,000 visitors during the exhibition, and despite the fact that the Expo in Astana ended, its results continue to bear fruit. On behalf of President Nursultan Nazarbayev, the government has studied all the innovations and technologies that have been presented by different countries at the exhibition and is now working on the implementation of these technologies. I know already that the Finnish technologies are allowed to measure air quality, or the Hungarian technologies that were presented in their pavilion. This is the process, and in my opinion, about 100 of such technological innovations that will be implemented in our economy.
Как минимум, по-моему, около сотни таких технологических инноваций, которые будут имплементироваться в нашей экономике.
As Mr. Ambassador explained, one of the technologies that aroused interest from the government of Kazakhstan is a special absorbent powder. There is another interesting Hungarian innovation from the exposition.
Изобретение венгерского стартапа, которое было представлено не только в нашем павильоне, но и в специализированном...
The invention of the Hungarian startup, which was presented not only in our pavilion, but also in a specialized pavilion called Best Practices Area. This Hungarian patio startup, they invented a walkway for sidewalks that is based on solar panels. Plus, if you move around it, it also generates energy. There, this is very effective and not so expensive technology. We already have the first section of a certain street in Budapest paved with a similar tile.
Эффективна и не столь дорогая технология. У нас уже первый участок определенной улицы в Будапеште вымощен именно вот этими вот плитками.
This is not all the advantages of holding an international exhibition in Astana for both countries. The direct flight, which was timed to the beginning of the expo, has been functioning successfully even up to now.
Мы постоянно встречаемся с венграми, которые спонтанно приехали в Астану.
We are constantly meeting with Hungarians who've come either by business or simply to see Astana. So this clearly indicates the growth of passenger traffic. And of course, as I also mentioned, the information from the airline Wizz Air, Astana Budapest. This is a newly launched flight of the company that started with the best results on the occupancy of passengers. Even the very first flights have already been filled by 80–85%. Recently, they have more than 95% of occupancy.
5% по наполняемости, в последнее время у них уже более 95%.
Another excellent example of bilateral cooperation is the mutual exchange of students. As part of the government agreement,
The number of Kazakhstanis who have already traveled to Hungary for study since September 1st has increased to 200 people. Another good news for Hungary was announced at the reception. Thanks to the positive decision of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Turkic-speaking countries that was held in New York in September of this year, Hungary was accepted as an observer in the International Turk Academy. And I am very proud that the other day on Friday, I was lucky enough to present the President of Hungary the Order of Merit to the President of International Turkic Academy, to His Excellency Mr. Darhan Kadirali. Once again, I congratulate you.
One of the most urgent areas of international cooperation in the context of the globalization of all possible processes is the mass media. The regional forum, use of digital technologies in the content of Kazakhstani TV channels, organized by the Thomson Foundation in partnership with the Public Foundation Legal Media Center with the financial support of the Embassy of Great Britain in Kazakhstan, was held in Astana for the first time. Representatives of 20 TV channels from all over Kazakhstan and other media experts gathered at the venue. This is a big project that started just from this forum. There are two goals to improve the work of regional TV channels. We try to do everything possible to bring them closer to international standards so that they use modern technologies. It is noteworthy that the main speakers at the forum were international experts with experience in large television corporations. For example, Zoe Charles, who made a presentation, Media Campaigns and Special Projects, has 25 years of experience in multimedia journalism, including in managerial positions. This topic is very important because it seems to me that our audience often lacks such journalism when it is possible to delve into the topic, when to find something interesting and tell about it in detail. Very often in journalism, especially in the news, we jump on top. We talk a little bit about different things, and the special projects are an opportunity to thoroughly deal with a certain topic. And this is the journalism that is often needed today. Another media expert in the field of TV and internet broadcasting, Katerina Kobernik, spoke about the possibilities of new platforms for news delivery. We have quite a lot of experience in combining television and internet resources into one converged newsroom. This is now popular and in demand in Ukraine because the young audience is known to flow into the internet. And in order not to lose it, television is trying to actively develop the internet content. Representatives of regional TV channels enjoyed listening to their colleagues' experiences, asking questions and receiving answers. For example, the biggest trend, according to media experts, is multimedia, TV channels, internet broadcasting, and of course, social networks. It is also important to communicate with your audience in various interesting formats. Let's just say the main rule is not to try to make equally interesting TV content for both the internet and television. We need to be able to adapt the content for the internet, and the internet content is redone for TV. The difference is that adapting and producing content for the internet needs to maximally squeeze budgets because the internet is always cheap in terms of technical performance. And this is normal for the whole world. As noted at the forum, these sites are very important for multi-vector international cooperation. This gives us such an option to compare how and what is happening in different countries of the world. Now there is such an interesting trend called journalism of solutions. Again, this is based on the fact that journalists are very often associated with the problem. They found the problem, talked about it and forgot about it and ran away. When the journalists found a problem, for example, at the local level and said, for example, but you know, in the neighboring area, they had the same problem and they decided it this way. Let's tell how it was solved. This is the positive side that we can bring to the audience. It's also very important for the audience. This regional forum is only the part of a large project of organizers. Next, we have planned 4 intensive training events in different regions. These are 4-day masterclasses with the participation of BBC experts who will teach how to use mobile phones to create material. It will be a 4-day practice. It will not be a lecture, but everyone will practice how to make high-quality, interesting materials, how to quickly broadcast them using a mobile phone. The Public Foundation Legal Media Center also cooperates with UNICEF on the objective coverage of children's rights and with other international organizations. Expo 2017 again invites guests, but already in the format of the tourist zone. National Pavilion, Museum of the Future, Nur Alem, Pavilion of the Best Practices, Thematic Pavilions and Art Center again opened their doors to the capital residents and guests. Those who did not have time to visit the exhibition will now be able to feel the atmosphere of the last summer's event. 115 countries and 22 international organizations took part in the exhibition. The event was visited by almost 4 million people, of which 15% were foreign tourists from 187 countries around the world. 28 heads of state and 36 prime ministers came with an official visit. Technologies are the main results of the global dialogue, which brought together high-level officials from all over the world. Kazakhstan plans to effectively manage the intellectual heritage of Expo 2017. The Ministry of Energy compiled a list of 105 achievements that are potentially effective for implementation. The issues of implementation of these projects are under consideration. The appropriate roadmap is being developed. Already business structures expressed their interest towards 68 technologies. One of them is already undergoing operational testing in Astana. It is the Finnish Innovation Monitoring Station for Environmental Monitoring by the Ministry of Agriculture. 66 new technologies selected from 15 countries of the world. Similar work is being done in other state bodies. In general, the territory of the exhibition will become the property of the whole country. The International Financial Center Astana, according to the representatives of the organizing committee, will take 2 pavilions next year. Also within the framework of the post-exhibition use of the infrastructure of Expo, an educational and career guidance center will be established in cooperation with Nazarbayev University and the International Technopark of IT startups. It is important to note that the Expo project unites all countries of the world. The Astana exhibition is no exception. Content organization and registration were carried out in close cooperation with international companies. For example, the zone of best practices, where we have the best 24 projects in the field of renewable energy from 13 countries in the rest of the world, they remain with us. We also continue to work with them. And the zone of best practices will continue to function in the future. It will be updated. Projects presented in the pavilion Nur Alem, one way or another, they're all mostly foreign. Organizers of the exhibition also thought about the issue of obsolescence of content. We are considering next year's activities at the thematic pavilions at the moment. What will be after the old content? We will make a decision on this issue already closer to the end of this period. How much interest will people have? Of course, we understand that they can become obsolete. The same applies to the zone of best practices. As for the sphere, then it will also be a museum of the future. But as for the solutions presented there, they overtake their time in many ways, and many solutions, they will serve for many more years. But of course, the content will be updated. The multiplier effect of Expo, according to the organizers of the exhibition, will affect the whole country for a long time, thanks to the inclusion of Expo in the top ratings of international publications, as well as the program of the National Geographic Channel about the architecture of the center Nur Alem. In general, thanks to the Expo, the development of domestic tourism has received a tremendous momentum. Only the demand for the services of operators has increased 78%. Therefore, the grandeur of the heritage of Expo should become the center of attraction of foreign tourists, domestic visitors.
As explained by the organizers, in winter there will be an ice rink, which will attract residents and guests of the capital to the expo town. Now the Tourist Zone Expo is waiting for its guests in the capital of Kazakhstan at any time of the year.